Providence has made it prohibitive for many young Bahamians to achieve their dreams of owning their own homes. And whereas the government has determined to make it a priority to make land more accessible and affordable to young Bahamians. And whereas the government has identified several tracts of land within the western area of New Providence to be developed as upscale communities where young Bahamian professionals will be able to purchase lots of approximately 95 by 100, the lots for the same $50,000. And whereas the government will put all the necessary infrastructure in place at the sole cost of the government, such that the lots would be worth $150,000 with all of the infrastructure installed. And whereas the first area identified is 93 acres of land in the vicinity of Bahama property, which is more particularly described and shown in the plan in the schedule attached herein called hereditaments. And whereas the development will be an upscale community that incorporates walking parks, pool parks, a community center, a swimming pool, and will also be eco-friendly with minimal change to the existing topography of the land. And whereas the government will also grant certain exemptions to make the construction of the homes more affordable by the waiver of customs duties on all the building materials, inclusive of appliances. And whereas in order to ensure that the development is completed in a timely manner, the construction of the homes will need to be completed within 2 years of purchase. And whereas the said hereditaments are vested in the treasurer, a corporation sole established under Section 4.1 of the Ministry of Finance Act, Chapter 23, Revised Status Law of Bahamas 2000, hereinafter called said Act, in trust for Her Majesty in right of her government of the Commonwealth of Bahamas for public purposes. And whereas the Treasurer has agreed to transfer the said hereditaments to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II in right of her government of the Commonwealth of Bahamas for the sum of $10 in the currency of the said Commonwealth, hereinafter called the said currency. And whereas, pursuant to Section 54 of the Conveyance and Law of the Property Act, Chapter 138, Statute Law of the Bahamas, Revised Edition 2000, the Minister responsible for Crown lands is empowered to make grants and dispositions of lands vested in Her Majesty for the beneficial interests of the Bahamas. And whereas, by Section 5.3a of the said Act, the Treasurer shall not sell or make any other disposition of the fee simple of any land vested in her without the prior approval of both houses of Parliament signified by resolution thereof. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the House supports the development of the said hereditaments as an upscale community for young Bahamian professionals and the granting of concessions which would allow them the opportunity to access affordable land for the building of their homes within the western area of New Providence, and pursuant to Section 5.3a of the said Act, this House approves the conveyance of said hereditaments by the Treasurer to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II in right of her government of the Commonwealth of Bahamas for the sum of $10 in the said currency. And Mr. Speaker, with respect to the schedule, all that piece, parcel, or lot of Treasury land containing 83 acres, thereabouts, subject to survey, located on the northern side of John F. Kennedy Drive and the junction of Prospect Ridge in the western district of the island of New Providence in the Commonwealth of Bahamas. The said parcel of land is more accurately described as follows. The said parcel is bounded on the north partly by Golf Course Heights, Dingo Limited and private lands, bounded on the east partly by Crown Land and partly by Ministry of Works, bounded on the south by JFK, partly by Crown Land and partly by government land, bounded on the west by Prospect Ridge. The said parcel of land has such position shape as shown in the attached color. Mr. Speaker, I think it's important for members to see exactly where this land is. Mr. Speaker, with respect to the land, it is noted that this portion is next to Balmoral. As we all know, Balmoral in the west on Sanford Drive. The office of the Prime Minister is on the opposite side of such land. Land that is being preserved, 10 acres of land preserved for the official residence of the Prime Minister is on its eastern boundary. On the northern boundary is Sanford Drive, of which you will find the official residence of the American ambassador. And on the western boundary is Sanford Drive, is Prospect Ridge. And on the southern boundary, Mr. Speaker, is John F. Kennedy Drive, bounded by two present structures, A.F. Adley Building and the Orwell Turnquest Building, and land will be reserved, Paul Adley Building, and land will be reserved for another structure. Mr. Speaker, this comprises of about 83 acres, and we have identified an additional 2 plots of land of similar nature in western New Providence, and they too will be added for subdivisions for young professionals. Mr. Speaker, I just want to say briefly a few words about this particular land. Oh, Mr. Speaker, I want to clarify. The land adjoining that is reserved for the official residence of the Prime Minister. I have no intentions of building any nor moving. So I don't want the people to think that I'm building a residence for myself. I am very happy, and in 2027, who is the new Prime Minister, they may build for themselves. But I'm quite happy there, man. But Mr. Speaker, when we came into office, we made a commitment that we would ensure that every Bahamian has an opportunity to participate in what we then termed the Bahamian dream. And that is, we wanted to afford the opportunity for every Bahamian to have free education. We've delivered on that, Mr. Speaker. The University of Bahamas, DTVI, and BAMSI are all free. We've also delivered on free school. And we've also delivered on subsidizing and assisting individuals who wanted to upgrade their schools or expand their preschools. And we've delivered and issued grants to at least 36 individuals up to $25,000. We've delivered that. We also delivered, Mr. Speaker, recognizing that every student coming from the Family Islands, in addition to having free education at University of Bahamas, we've ensured that each and every student coming from the Family Islands is given $500 subsidy to assist him or her with their living accommodation. That's per month, Mr. Speaker. That was part one of the Bahamian Dream. Part two of the Bahamian Dream was to provide an opportunity for every Bahamian to own land and build his or her home. Young professionals, Mr. Speaker, have always been sort of ignored or put on the sideline. So we wanted to identify lands throughout the Bahamas for our young professionals and young people. The programs that I've mentioned will be reserved for individuals between the ages of 18 and 45. And Mr. Speaker, they would be able to purchase the land multi-family. The intention of this first development will be 150 lots, 40% multi-family, 60% single family. The multi-family lots will be purchased at $50,000, and the single family lot will be purchased at $40,000. Those lots would be worth $150,000. We've already had discussion with a number of banks, and they have agreed provisionally that they will do their evaluation. And once they themselves are happy that yes, the land is worth $150,000 or more, the equity is such a vast amount that individuals would not have to come up with any down payment to construct their homes. We've also had a discussion where we will design about 10 different homes. Individuals would be able to purchase any of the 10 designs for one model for $1,000, therefore no architectural fees, and these would have already been approved by the Ministry of Works. In addition to that, Mr. Speaker, we will introduce ordinance and restrictive covenants so that you cannot repair any cars in given areas. Mr. Speaker, you've stated, and you will hear a lot more as we move into the debate. The land is preserved for individuals 18 to 45. They build within 2 weeks, 2 years. And if they wanted to sell, we will not allow flipping. Government will be given right of first refusal. In other words, if you wanted to sell, government is given the first offer, and government can purchase it at a slight increase, after which it will be placed back in the pool for individuals to purchase. Mr. Speaker, in order to ensure fair play, just as what that was done with establishing a committee for the rollout of the vaccine, and everybody's seeing what is done, we will establish a committee again, and the committee will set the rules and the policies as to the selection of individuals so that there'll be fair play for each and every Bahamian. In addition to that, Mr. Speaker, these individuals will be able to build duty-free their home appliances duty-free. They will pay no stamp tax. They will pay no real property tax. Real property tax exemption for a minimum of 2 years post-construction. Mr. Speaker, during the debate, I will have a lot more to say because there will be a lot more benefits. The entire idea is to have our young people moving into homes at minimal cost, and we would ensure that that happens. That is phase 2 of the Bahamian Dream, and we will be delivering on that. Part 3 of the Bahamian Dream, Mr. Speaker, is jobs. And during the debate, we will talk about that, and if you listen to the member from Freetown, he would have spoken today of the job opportunities in terms of the port development, in terms of the home porting, etc., and there are a lot more to say. So, Mr. Speaker, we would have delivered on the Bahamian dream. Free education, home, land, and now jobs. Mr. Speaker, during the debate, individuals will hear a lot more about it. As I've said, we've identified 3 parcels of land within the western community so that we can move from one to the other to ensure that there are opportunities for most, if not all. And the intention is to do this throughout all the various family islands. We've already identified land within the southern Lutra area, which we will proceed with, and likewise in Exuma. And the idea is once we create such opportunities, we will be encouraging Bahamians to move from Nassau to the family islands where there are great opportunities. And yes, we've already identified such land in Abaco. And Mr. Speaker, it would just be land and home development rolling out using these in the principle and the procedure that I spoke about. But as I've said, Mr. Speaker, there are a lot more to say about this, and when we commence the debate on this development, everyone would hear more about the various concessions. As we've heard repeatedly that the foreigners receive more concessions and benefits than the Bahamians, and therefore we will dispel that myth, and we will demonstrate that the Bahamians will definitely get more than what is offered to any foreigner. And Mr. Speaker, nobody can say that this is not the people's time.
Thank you.